I can't even believe this has to be said, but we're going to go ahead and address the headlines of whether or not Jeffrey Epstein was in any way, shape, or form Satoshi Nakamoto or the guy that invented Bitcoin, as a lot of these headlines are coming out right now. Never thought this day would happen, but in this video, we're going off. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Debasement Index. My name is Angel Rios, and this is a channel solely focused on building capital in a fiat world together. Now, this video, there might be some explicit words in it. If there are, I do apologize, but just know this message is coming from the heart. Now, before we get into this disgusting human being and how it just showed how disgusting this system is, let me just start off on a positive note. You know, I started this channel 2-3 weeks ago, and we're already at 46 subscribers. And I want to appreciate all the support that this channel has gotten so far. The goal for this channel right now is to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you feel like I earned your subscription with this video, only if I earn it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It really helps me with the algorithm. It really helps this channel grow. Hit a comment on whatever you think about this video and click the notification bell just so you don't miss any future content if you want to stay on top of the content that I put out on this channel, the Debasement Index. So without further ado, let's get into it. So reports have been coming out that Jeffrey Epstein was either A, the creator of Bitcoin, or B, had a big part in the creation and development of the cryptocurrency. Again, Bitcoin gets thrown in with cryptocurrency all over the place, but Bitcoin is its own separate thing. It's its own entity, yeah? Now, I can't even begin to explain how idiotic and pathetic those statements are. And the problem is that regular people, they'll read a freaking headline and they'll just take the headline as truth and they won't even read the article. Or they won't even look at the article and see if they're full of absolute dog crap or not. And if there's one thing that I'm not going to allow to happen is to let this disgusting man, okay, and the disgusting system that allowed him to perpetrate his atrocities on young girls and young women, to absolutely ruin the reputation, the credibility, and the integrity of the greatest apolitical monetary sovereignty tool ever created by mankind, whose sole goal is to protect the property rights and the purchasing power of the people who use it in its own network. And I'm talking about Bitcoin. So in this video, we're going to get into it. And this hits home to me because I am a father. I am a father of a young and beautiful daughter, and I have another baby on the way. So Bitcoin has solidified not just my future, but the future of them. And to let this absolute piece of garbage and his absolute rancid memory ruin the reputation of Bitcoin is not going to happen under my watch or under any other Bitcoiner's watch. So without further ado, let me disprove in this video right now how Epstein absolutely had nothing directly to do with Bitcoin and how asinine the claims are. So without further ado, let's go ahead and debunk all this BS. So what happens? You'll see headlines like this one right here. Files cast light on Jeffrey Epstein's ties to cryptocurrency. Newly released documents detail convicted sex offenders' early backing of Bitcoin and Coinbase. And most people will stop there. Now, I want to show you the contrast between something that is actually non-accurate in information and completely political in its attack, and something that just gives you the raw facts. This one is completely apolitical in its attack, and you'll be able to notice it because of the wording. Okay, so in this article, if you continue to read, you'll see how they frame this BS. Millions of files. If I look at the screen and I'm looking down, guys, I apologize. I am reading this, so you guys can follow along with me and we can go along together. Millions of files related to Jeffrey Epstein have brought to light his ties to the highest echelons of the cryptocurrency industry. Now, just right there, yes, millions of files about Jeffrey Epstein's disgusting, absolutely inhuman behavior and actions were released, but not millions related to cryptocurrency. See the wording? Yeah, there was just a few detailing some investments that he made, which we're going to get into and show how it's not Bitcoin, but it's actually blockchain, and how him and Jamie Dimon kind of have a similar vocabulary in talking about this stuff because, again, Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase was Jeffrey Epstein's banker, and they ignored all the red flags that came from his account because they didn't give a frick, yeah? So let's keep reading. Documents published last week by the U.S. Department of Justice reveal Epstein bankrolled the principal home and funding source for Bitcoin. Again, another lie. What he funded was an MIT group study of cryptocurrency developers, among which were Bitcoin developers, in order to work on blockchain technology, not work on the developing of Bitcoin and the moving Bitcoin around. Matter of fact, there have been studies made now where people are trying to go on the blockchain where you can verify transactions and see if any large transactions could be tied back to Epstein's illicit practices, and they found none. However, we have found some, matter of fact, many, all through the traditional banking system, like JP Morgan Chase, which they ignored to address those red flags. We'll talk about those compliance teams in a second. So let's keep reading. The world's largest cryptocurrency during its nascent stages. He also invested $3 million. Now, some reports say 3 million, some reports say 500,000 in Coinbase in 2014, the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the US, and cut a check that same year to Blockstream, which was another company focused on it was a technology focused firm. Again, not Bitcoin focused technology. The wording is so misleading. It was the blockchain that these people were interested in because with the blockchain, you can move money around very, very, very quickly and have higher settlement rates or lower settlement times, excuse me. So you see here with these articles how immediately, if you just have a little bit of common sense and a little bit of base knowledge, you can just discredit it immediately. First off, Bitcoin was developed by somebody that nobody knows, which is the beauty of Bitcoin, because it's what makes it apolitical. A pseudonym by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, and then the cypherpunks that came with that. And it was a core group of Bitcoin developers working on Bitcoin software and Bitcoin technology. And then obviously that was inserted into the blockchain for payments. Yeah. Now, let's keep going and looking through these things, right? So again, what Jeffrey Epstein was interested in was the blockchain technology. You know who else has not been interested in Bitcoin but been interested in blockchain technology? Well, check it out right here. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a hyped up fraud and cryptocurrencies are a waste of time, but blockchain is a deployable technology. Again, that's what they were interested in. It was in the technology itself. If you read what Jamie Dimon said, I'm just going to call him Jeffrey Epstein's banker because that's who he was. Another piece of garbage. I think there's a direct quote from him. I think all that's been a waste of time, and why you guys waste any breath on it, meaning Bitcoin, is totally beyond me, he told CNBC. Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud. And then later on here, he goes ahead and calls it a pet rock. His words. Yeah. But you know what he was interested in? Blockchain technology. Again, his words in the same interview. But while Diamond doesn't believe in cryptocurrencies when it comes to the blockchain technology that they're built on, he has a much more positive outlook. Quote, "That's different," he said on Thursday. "Blockchain is a technology ledger system that we use to move information. We've used it to do overnight repo, intraday repo. We use it to move money, right? So that's a technology ledger that we think will be deployable." This guy was his banker. And if you think, and Jeffrey Epstein was one of the top clients at JP Morgan Chase. So if you think these two didn't know each other, especially at the high echelons that Epstein was in, of course they did. And of course they talked. Again, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't interested in Bitcoin. He was interested in the blockchain technology. Okay, that all cryptocurrencies run on, because that's the payment rails that they run through. This Twitter post says it perfectly from Mike Germano. And it says, Jeffrey Epstein didn't launder his horrors using Bitcoin. He relied on bank accounts at JP Morgan Chase, HSBC, and Deutsche Bank to pay for his crimes. But those institutions have elite PR machines working overtime to shift the convo. Never forget who backed him. And I'm convinced more than ever that they're under hot water and they're burning their asses because it turned out that they ignored the red flags on Jeffrey Epstein's accounts. And they allowed him to propagate his crimes through their bank from where he actually funded his illicit activities. He did not use a single Satoshi, a single decimal of Bitcoin to fund his atrocities. Matter of fact, there's been a study made where people were trying to go on the blockchain to try and see if they could correlate any of the transactions on the blockchain ledger to Bitcoin and his activities, and they found nothing. Nothing. But guess what? There's plenty on the banks. Now, how cozy was he with the banks? Was cozy as one of the top executives at Goldman Sachs calling Jeffrey Epstein Uncle Jeffrey. Let's get into some more big banking hypocrisy. This lady right here, her name is Kathy Rumler, one of the top executives at Goldman Sachs, top Goldman Sachs lawyer who called Epstein Uncle Jeffrey, resigns. Uncle Jeffrey. How sweet. Huh. Let's look at her relationship with this guy. And you'll see how these people just contradict themselves. Just right in their messaging. In the same interview. Goldman Sachs top lawyer Kathy Rumler has announced she will step down from her role after months of pressure over her friendship with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Emails disclosed by the U.S. Justice Department show she referred to the disgraced financier in emails as Uncle Jeffrey, advised him on how to push back against media, and accepted luxury gifts from him. I mean, these people are disgusting. And you'll see that you can just infer, not even infer, you can just deduce that she's a freaking liar. It says here, and I quote from her, this is from Kathy Rumler, quote, I had no knowledge of any ongoing criminal conduct on his part, and I did not know him as the monster he has been revealed to be. Really, Kathy? Really? Top lawyer at Goldman Sachs? Interesting. When we look at dates, well, here's what we see. Emails show she had a large number of communications with Epstein between 2014 and 2019, when she was in private practice after leaving the White House. Keep in mind, Epstein was convicted in Florida in 2008 for soliciting prostitution from a child. from a kid and died while in custody facing sex trafficking charges in 2019. I'm pretty sure 2008 is before 2014. Miss Kathy Rumler, top exec at Goldman Sachs, receiving expensive luxury gifts from Uncle Jeffrey. So, of course you knew. You all knew. And now you're trying to shift the conversation to Bitcoin when you guys are the perpetrators or the people that enabled the financing of his crimes because he brought wealthy clients in. Get and this article says it best. Okay? The banks behind Jeffrey Epstein, why the story matters now more than ever. And again, if you see a political candidate that you see on these articles, hey, it's not an attack on anybody. I'm apolitical. I'm neither a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm Team Orange. I'm Team Property Rights. I'm Team Bitcoin. Right? I could give two about Republican and Democrat. Other people can play those sheep games if they want to. I want no part. With sordid tales of Jeffrey Epstein once again in the media, haunting former President Donald Trump and other alleged associates implicated on the now branded fictitious Epstein list, new attention is being directed at the financial institutions that served him: JP Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank. If we keep reading further on this article, you'll see, unlike traditional investigative journalism, this is an article from Compliance Week's analysis offers more than an expose. It's a blueprint for change for compliance professionals in financial services that report identify specific behavioral and financial red flags linked to human trafficking and money laundering, including unusual withdrawal patterns, third-party transfers from multiple accounts, clusters of high-risk nationalities opening accounts, women receiving funds from Epstein's accounts while listing his New York properties as their residence. These weren't subtle indicators. The red flags were glaring and frequent. But what did these people in this traditional banking infrastructure that's FDIC insured and it's regulatory compliant, that you feel like your money is safe in, what did they do? Well, let's find out. While corporate governance failures and toxic banking culture are nothing new, the last 18 months have shown just how urgent it is for internal whistleblowers and compliance professionals to speak out. Compliance Week's, quote, "The banks behind the Epstein enterprise" case study exposed how compliance teams at both banks raised concerns. They did. The compliance teams raised concerns, and there's documentation on this, flagged risks, and formally objected to Epstein's continued relationship with the institutions. Yet he was retained because of his wealth, his social connections, and potential to attract other lucrative clients. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was known for putting people together, but they kept this because he brought in lucrative clients. Toxic incentives outweighed ethical imperatives. In the end, the renewed spotlight on Epstein's enablers, particularly in the financial world, not Bitcoin, the traditional financial world, that disgusting system, is not merely a chance to revisit the past. It's a call to confront the ongoing systems of power, profit, and silence that allowed his crimes to flourish. And again, the reason why I'm so passionate about defending this point and showcasing how Jeffrey Epstein had nothing to do with Bitcoin. It was merely investing in blockchain technology. And how throwing Bitcoin in these articles is extremely irresponsible and absolutely misleading. Especially from the mainstream media. And the reason is because Bitcoin was birthed out of the 2008 great financial crisis. It was birthed as an alternative to how people could exercise their property rights and have their property rights protected. How it's immutable money, apolitical money, and for them to politicize it over lies and misguidances, my bet is that it's propagated from these banking infrastructures and their PR teams to shift the blame from them. I'm not going to allow it to happen. Bitcoin has secured not only my future, but the future of my family and the future of my children. And it has done so for so many other people and has given hope for the future. And as more people come onto the Bitcoin network and they start holding a part of their savings or the whole savings in Bitcoin, they will also secure their futures as well, secure their freedoms. And again, this channel, it's about building capital in a fiat world. And what you're seeing here in this video is the fiat world. I'm always going to try my best not to get political, but when you interlock Bitcoin with this absolute piece of garbage, telling lies and misconceptions with lack of evidence or actually huge amounts of evidence to the contrary of your point, it is irresponsible. It's absolutely irresponsible. And I myself, even though I don't have the biggest channel and I'm working really hard and I'm trying to bring you guys real solid content and real solid investment thesis and company analysis and Bitcoin analysis, I'll do this when I'm at 50 subscribers, and I'll do this, God willing, when I'm at thousands of subscribers. Right now here where I'm at is 9:30 p.m. I've been working since 4:30 a.m., y'all. I just put the baby to sleep. My wife's in bed. And I'm here making these videos because this is the only time of the day that I have to do them. And I'm here because I genuinely care about this topic of Bitcoin and investing in real capital and in companies that invest in real capital. And I think it's one of the most, if not the most important topic of our lifetimes, of our generation. What is money? What constitutes money? What should money be? Because I'm tired of people suffering and people not knowing how to get ahead because of the financial system that we live in right now. The exact financial system that allowed this absolute piece of shit to propagate his crimes. It's disgusting. And so on a helpful note and on a more positive note, I hope this video was helpful for anybody that was kind of on the ropes. They were getting bombarded with all the information and about this disgusting piece of garbage and his possible relationship to Bitcoin, which there was none. And I hope it was helpful in building conviction to the contrary of the narrative being pushed right now. Again, guys, I'm working really hard on these videos. So if you feel like I earned your subscription, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and comment anything that you might think about the video or about this situation. I'd greatly appreciate that, and click the notification bell if you don't want to miss any future content that I go ahead and put on this channel. So again, guys, this is the Debasement Index. My name is Angel Rios, and this is a channel solely focused on building capital in a fiat world together. Have a great one, y'all.